I
Get
always
it?
love when that beat drops.
Oh, I love a good beat drop. Yeah. I don't know. It's not the band nerd, it's just the music lover, Like it's psychological. That's why we make music the way that we do. And we're going to talk about music in today's show, but um yeah, gets the people going.
Right? How are you,
Hmm.
my friend?
Hmm. Talking about social wellness, I am, how am I? Excited. I'm excited. How are you?
I am really, really good. I have
Good.
had a lot of, well, I've been home for a week, so my body's
Hmm.
resetting with rest and
Yes.
I'm filling up my cup, and I've had a lot of really yummy social connections
Oh,
from folks that I've missed, or I got to go to a friend's house for dinner this weekend that we hadn't seen in a
beautiful.
couple of weeks. And
Okay.
yeah, I have to be sure not to go too far in the
I
social
understand.
direction when we talk about social wellness because I
Yeah.
can over people because I
Yeah.
love people.
Yeah. I understand.
Yep,
Yeah.
I know you
And
do.
it's like I've been watching not the pitter patter, but the step of spending time with everybody when you can. And like you're saying, okay, we had two holidays in the last weekend, right? How do we get back in the pace of the week after and what we're about to do off the holiday, and honoring that that pace is different because of where we are, but we're jumping into what needs to be normal and consistent. So I
Right.
hear what you're saying.
I thought you were about to say you've been watching the Olympics because I was
And I
so
have
excited to talk about that
been.
this week.
Oh, I have been. I've been having an Olympic time, enjoying the marble on the marketing, and the white snow, and looking at the outfits, looking at the team camaraderie. It's been a good time.
Can we just give a shout out to Elena Myers Taylor? Did
Yes.
you see that whole story this week?
No, I didn't see all of it. I saw part of her signing with her son.
Okay.
I saw part of I saw the silver medal, and
Hmm.
then Farrell was like, "Well, I thought she got gold," and then we saw the gold, and then I saw the
Hmm.
six career Olympic medals. So I
She
said,
is the
"Okay,
most
tell me what
decorated
happened."
black athlete in
Mm,
Winter Olympic history. This
wow.
is her fifth Olympic Games. She's got a tie to Georgia, which both you and I
Mm-hmm.
do.
Yes.
And I was so struck by her story because the first person she hugged, jumped up and down with, and celebrated with was her nanny. And
Yeah.
she gave credit to her nanny in the after interview reports about how she couldn't have accomplished what she did without her traveling with her and helping her care for her two children. And I just thought it was such a powerful story of women being connected and that collaboration and that support. And her husband was there too. And, but I don't know, it was just magical.
Yeah, and we talk about Sati a lot, and Sati's
Mhm.
chapter is yes, you do know. You do know what you're talking about, you
Right.
know.
It's true.
And yeah, shout out to the husbands who are there, and shout out to the nannies because when
Right.
she's training, husband is not trying. You don't always want to do it by yourself, so we have many
Right.
hands in the village.
All
Yes,
the
absolutely.
teams,
Yeah,
all the teams. Well, that
yeah.
and just not giving up. And I mean, it
Hmm.
came down to like milliseconds. Like
Yeah,
it was incredible.
I love
So
stuff like that.
just yeah, I mean, it's always inspiring to me.
Hmm. Yeah, and I told you I was talking to my dad about it earlier, and we don't always spend time on the phone. So I had a really good time going over the Olympics and everything, and he was informing me that apparently she was called a loser. And how, and I bring this up because it was President's Day this week. So how can she be a loser if she's the highest?
Yeah.
Like that's
Well, because that's happening because any of the athletes that speak out against what's currently happening in our
mm,
country are being, you know, their
mm,
names are being slandered. And
that makes sense.
and we live in the United States and we are
That
supposed to have
happens.
freedom of speech. So, And we're supposed to be able to speak out against our government and say when we don't
Hmm.
agree. That's being challenged right now, but, you know, let's keep
Yeah.
doing it. Let's keep speaking.
And anytime I give constructive feedback, it's not as if it's me against you. It's us together, right? And it's for our good.
Mhm.
So I'm giving it because I care about you so that we could work together because we're all part of it, you know? So hearing about this winner from Douglasville, being from Douglasville,
Right?
graduating from Hiram High School, when we were out at those band competitions, High Ram, they pronouncing it wrong and we're still the winner, baby. So they can mispronounce it gold, 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 grand champion. Yes, take that trophy home. Absolutely, So,
Right?
no, it doesn't matter what they say. And super excited to, see her signing
Right?
and being able
And
to win after
Elena
all that due
keep
diligence.
right? Being a mom, being an
Yeah.
athlete, being a
Yeah.
spouse, being a
Mm-hmm.
friend, being
Yeah.
a, working, because almost all our Olympic athletes work 2 or 3 jobs, unlike
Oof.
other countries. Yeah.
I was
It's
wondering
a
about that.
yeah, it's a big deal. I was reading all about that, and,
Yeah.
it's kinda like the healthcare issue, but we could spend all
And let's go
so
into it because, we're about to do our intro
oh, I
and we're
lost you for a
talking
second.
about how to go from chaos. Okay. But I said
You're
let's
back.
talk about it, because for social wellness. Okay. I don't know how much you heard and how much you didn't, but let's jump into the intro so that we can go ahead and get
Let's
our
do it.
guest on and go
Let's do
into
it.
this really good resource.
Okay, today we're talking about social wellness. And for our Women Connected in Wisdom definition, social wellness is about the ability to nurture ourselves, others, and our relationships with healthy boundaries. It includes, and we always put this in quote, balancing the other 7 dimensions of wellness and actively participating as an interdependent being in the web of life.
Mm, interdependent.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what stands out for me, especially after everything we were just talking about. What about for you?
Oh, what stands out for me? Is the balancing, because it always feels like a balancing act of, if I'm
And it
doing
is.
social, I might not have more time for another part of the wellness and the balancing.
Mm,
This week, I really balanced it great because I was walking with my friend Gina and
yeah.
her dog Smokey, and
Mm,
we laughed and laughed. So it kind of, I like to stack things. So it was
yeah.
physical wellness, it was
Mm-hmm.
social wellness, it was emotional and mental. It was all kind of
Mm,
together because it was walking with a friend, laughing, all the things. So,
yes. Back home in your rhythm,
mhm,
catching up,
mhm.
laughing, and I can imagine y'all's laughter bouncing off the trees in your neighborhood, like your singing does in your labyrinth when you go sing. Have you been back in
Cute.
your labyrinth?
I'm embarrassed to say no
Okay, that's
because it was
okay. You've been
raining
walking.
and it was raining and cold and I haven't
Yeah.
yet. I need to.
What were you
I
about to say?
realized I don't know if I told you about this
What?
because I hadn't told Gina.
Mm,
And so, did I tell you about the art car I bought or
yes.
the frame of the art? Okay.
The
Okay.
front. I
So,
think I think you did.
little bitty electric golf cart
Yeah.
that I want to paint to be a little Tykes car. And so so cute. And
It's
so
gonna be
Gina hadn't
cute.
seen it, so that was part of the laughter is
You
me
picked her
taking
up
her
in it?
home. No, I took her home because she had walked me home after our walk, and she's like, "What is this?" And then we just started cracking up, and I'm like, "Let me take you on a ride, friend."
Yeah.
And,
Good.
oh, we laughed so hard. It was so good.
Good.
So just the
Yeah.
possibility of whimsy and joy and
Yeah.
creating art is
Yeah.
is I think crucial right now when things are
My
actually when things are
goodness.
hard.
Mm. I
So,
can't wait to talk about it. And our guest today talks about awe and that, how you always share about looking at the beauty and remembering the beauty in the environment that you're in. I love walks in Georgia, and if you have a beautiful neighborhood, different amenities, would love to be able to get on a cart. Yeah, get on a cart and cart over there instead of, a little Uber for Monty or something. Just cart them back. I'm with
so
you.
fun.
I'm with
You
you.
ready to shout out our guest and read her
Yes.
bio?
Let's do it, y'all. Okay. Okay, guys, today we are talking to Annelies. Annelies M. Gentile is a visionary and seasoned professional certified. integrative life and leadership executive coach, speaker, process artist, facilitator, and author of From Chaos to Calm, Leading Change from the Inside Out, an invaluable guide to resilience, sense, solace, and sanity for our rapidly changing world. From eliminating burnout to nurturing ideas, leadership and creative expression, to tending grief associated with change, Annelies helps you navigate the nuances of uncertainty with courage, creativity, and grace. From what was to what's next, she influences all levels, micro to macro, coaching one to one, facilitating groups, leading retreats, and inspiring many as a speaker, teacher, and visual and expressive artist. Annalise holds a master's degree in health and wellness coaching from the Maryland University of Integrative Health and serves clients globally. On a personal note, Annalise hammocks for happiness, forages for food and fun, and is an amateur astronomer, and loves walks along lakeside nature trails with her sweetie Greg Witt of Drum for Change. Welcome to the stage, Annalise.
Thank you so much, Shannon and Christine, for having me
Absolutely.
here. What a delicious beginning. I love to hear
Hmm.
you interplay about your personal life and what you experience about the world. And I am
Hmm.
grateful to be here. Thank you. And hello, listeners out there.
Right. We are so
Absolutely.
excited to have you. And I love that you already brought up interplay because that is how we met. And I know
Yes,
it as she reads your bio. I'm like, oh, yeah, soul sister.
definitely.
It's just something that when you know that the world needs something that fits in between the edges of things that are more structured and known,
Mm,
it's in this magic space where it's liminal, it's playful, it's mysterious, and it's unknown, and anything fits, and that's what helps us get through. It's so imperative, especially now, individually and societally, when people are not sure what to do next with their emotions, and it can cause a lot of unnecessary suffering.
absolutely. I love how your bio said that helping people through the grief of transition. When you talk about chaos to calm, can you share with us a little bit about what you walk your clients through? Yes, and
Here's a book
gorgeous.
from chaos to
Yes.
calm, leading change
Woo!
from the inside out.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that
I
cover.
published it
It's
in
beautiful.
2018. Here's one without the plastic cover. Maybe it won't be so reflective. There you go. That's a little bit better. Yeah, I published in
Love it.
2018. It's 33 pages. A personal story, part philosophy, part personal story, and part guidebook. And I've been told people who find this book, they say this is exactly what I needed, and they'll send me a picture of themselves with all the posted notes, and it's highlighted, and it's been marred, all marred up from being carried all over the place. That's when I know, okay, I bared my soul and my story to help people, and I help people who help people so that they can help more people. And if they're
Yes.
not self loving and self caring and seeing how presence is the magic formula to navigating uncertainty, if they can't get that, if they can't get there, then you spiral and you wind up in a really limited mind frame and a limited consciousness and a limited frame of mind. So I help people pierce through the veil and see that they can create with change, create with chaos, create with uncertainty, to move life towards versus and through versus to be pushed by it. It becomes
Mm,
a co-creative relationship. And that's a tool that Western societies traditionally were not taught. So I'm an artist. I really learned the value of creation and destruction early on in life. I've lost many people personally, actually nearly 30 people in the last 18 years alone that were a
wow.
part of my real close tribe. So I understand loss and grief and bring that into working with people to help them work with grief as a creative tool, which then again becomes a palette, becomes a canvas, an expression of life, and loss becomes a gain. And that's where
Mm.
we are societally. We're 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 really experiencing the little d death and the big D death. The little d death of change, all the trigger events that are going on, change of job, change of culture, parents are aging, people are passing away, what we trust, governmental systems are changing, the way that we believe things to be changing. That little d death is a kind of a constant in life, but you only get that when you've been here long enough. So yay for us older folks who've been here long enough, like we can understand the difference. And then the big D death is direct loss. So consciously and subconsciously, I think we are carrying what I call hidden grief. And for societies to be well, we need tools to be able to address the real nature of how we're feeling. And it doesn't quite fit the traditional Western medicine. And it's why I studied at the Maryland University of Integrative Health. I could have studied organizational development, but I'm like, that's an old system. That's an archaic system. Where we are and where we're going needs something more new, but it's not new. It's just really old. It's basic. It's the
Mhm.
systems of nature. Things grow. They come from nothing, seemingly nothing. They grow. They expand. They fruit. They release, and then they transition. They end. There's an ending, and we're missing this piece in society. Same thing with the 5 stages of the creative process. A part of creating is about letting go. Uh,
Annalise,
you
before we
have
go there, because
yeah.
I want to hear that. I want to hear about the 5 stages
Thank
of
you.
creativity. But before we
Mm.
go there, there was something that caught my attention, and you were talking about presence, and you were talking, and what I had a question about is, say somebody's spiraling in anxiety or, being pushed by the news or whatever. What is a tool or a resource you could give them in this moment to pause that and to go towards presence?
Mm. I have a meditation that I have 5 of them that I've created. I'm going to be doing some videos on this, and one of my clients asked me to do this today. Um, it's really simple. The first thing is you have to recognize what spiraling is. To recognize the what's called phenomena or the symptoms, or if it was the weather report, if a rainy day would have rain, it would have clouds, it might have wind, it might have a colder temperature or a warmer temperature or a temperature change. So if someone knows they're spiraling, they're already a little bit ahead of the game. If you don't know you're spiraling, but you're just kind of in a crazy pants mode, everything is bothering you, everything is triggering you, everything is making you upset, that is the symptom. That is the phenomena to pay attention to yourself. And the first gift I would give you is permission to feel. First thing is permission to feel. It's okay to not feel great about what's happening. It's okay to be grieving. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to not know what to do. So the first step of awareness is the permission to begin to be okay with what's not okay. The second piece, if someone is ready for action, is to consider what's your relationship with information. And I know, Christine, this is very much talked about in interplay. I wrote about it in my book before it was even informed to me through the interplay process. But we inform ourselves with what we read, what we hear, the conversations we have. Just think of the word inform. We're being formed within with what we take in. So consider what you consume. And if you're ready for action, try to reduce it or change it. Here's a simple tip. Instead of watching videos with a sound, reduce a sense. So watch them instead of watch and listen. If you are a multitasker where you're watching and you're listening and you're watching something else, reduce the multitask. A part of the overwhelm spiral is that there's just too many things going on at once. Think about if you were um, a radio that had like this magical way of having many different plugs, and you're just plugging into all these things. You have all these extension cords. You're kind of frying your wiring because you're plugged into too many things at once. So the first step is give yourself permission to be okay with what is. If you first notice, ooh, I'm plugged into a lot of stuff, I don't feel really good about it, be okay with the way you feel. That's number one. Number two, consider how you can reduce your exposure to information by reducing either what you take in or the way that you take it in, by changing some of the sensory exposure. For instance, I might read clips of the news, but I won't watch videos unless it's something that I think is imperative for me to see because it will give me more information than I'm able to take in.
I
And
love that. And I actually consciously I've been doing that for a while now because I like to read versus the other. But what I also have been consciously doing is when there's something joyful or awe-filled, I will go seek out that video and that sound. So, like,
mhm.
really looking for what comes in. Shannon, you look like you were about to say something.
I was just agreeing with you that I am intentional about the way I take in the news and information, but I love how you said seek the joy. I'm always looking for what is my wisdom in action this week? What am I doing? That's what you saw me light up about. Say, ooh, seeking the joy. That's something I'm working on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear what
Some
you're saying,
sometimes
Annalise.
yeah, and I completely agree with that. I have this ongoing conversation with someone who really is a news spiraler, and they are aware that they're a news spiraler, and they seem to have a, whether they're conscious of it or not, an agreement that the spiral is required
Oof. Mm-hmm.
to take in the information. It's like, well, I can't take this and not feel bad. Like I have to feel bad. And I think that's another layer of the healing process, that there probably is something that needs a special kind of tending. Maybe there could be some therapy or therapeutic work to help them understand that bad things in the world happen. Suffering happens. The amount of suffering that we're experiencing on mass scale is horrendous. That's just what it is. And this life, this domain that we have, this domain that we wake up with every day, the relationships that we have, the food that we take in, the dialogues that we have choices. We are not powerless to the nth degree.
Right.
So that's where there's that agreement. So I would say it may be difficult for some to access joy because they just can't see. So the spectrum is if you can see and you are capable, maybe that joy is in a pet that's on your lap. Maybe
Or
that joy,
hammocking for happiness.
yeah, or glancing out the window, connection with nature. I light a candle. I light 3 candles every day. I always have a process with light around me. I always have a relationship with the natural world. Even on video, there are certain things, tactile things that I have around me to make me feel good. I have my water. I've got my lipstick. I've got my, connection to nature. I filled the bird bath so that when we're talking, I can rest my system and take a glance. And that little tiny slice of nature reduces my anxiety and gives me a little bump of joy. So micro steps, I think, are really important, Christina and Shannon.
Little micro doses of joy. I
Yeah.
have sometimes I can't see out my window because of the way my if when I'm on air, but I have a piece of art that just I adore. So I kind of do the same thing, Annalise, with art to rest my eyes. Because at
Hmm.
the very start of the pandemic, when I was teaching Zoom classes and teaching people how to speak online, that was one of the things that was so coming up so much for people as they were exhausted. Their eyes were exhausted,
Oh my
their
gosh, yes.
spirits were exhausted. And so even having those little micro doses of joy while we're in this virtual world, I think especially while we're in this virtual world is important. I don't want to lose our conversation. I want to circle this back around to the 5 stages of creativity because
Hmm.
I'm all about that as an artist and I want to hear your take on it.
Well, first you have your inquiry. You've got to start with a question. And you may or may not be conscious that everyone is creative because we make creative choices all the time. Like what you wore today, whether you're aware of it or not, is a creative choice. Oh, see, you've got your necklace on. So from your inquiry, you move into the gathering stage, and that's where you're collecting information. You're consciously and subconsciously collecting information from a wide variety of ideas and sources and resources and conversations that include the now and your past. And then you will step away. This is the diversion stage. And the diversion stage is where we might say procrastination, we might say distraction, we might say, I don't deserve that,
Dreaming.
dreaming. But the diversion stage is really important. It's how much, it's all about what's enough, the spectrum of what's enough stepping away time before you have your idea. And then when you get your answer to your idea, it's the aha stage. It's like, I got it. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. And then the final piece of this, there's 5 solid ones, but the sixth one is validation. And that's where you take your idea out into the world and you show up to work and someone's like, dang, girl, I like that blouse. And you're like, I had a good creative process. I picked the right outfit because it was validated back. And this is all happening underneath the surface because consciously, our bodies and the amygdala in the back of the brain is looking for pattern recognition where it feels safe. And if we don't feel safe, then we go into fight or flight, which causes an increase of stress. But when we feel validated, we are included in the village, included in the fold, and we feel safe. So the creative process is functioning underneath all the time because it's seeking ways of being and relationships where we are fitting in to other patterns. And the big upset that's happening socially is that the patterns we felt safe in are fracturing. And
Mhm.
there hasn't been on mass scale yet an adoption, an agreement of what the next evolution is going to be. So you'll see a lot of these splicing off into pools of essentially tribalism because there are clusters of people who are finding safety in these particular patterns. So a part of what I would say is a part of the social well-being formula is play and creativity. It all goes back to if we can play together, and there's science to prove this, in 15 minutes of play, you can have people who are strangers. And it has been scientifically proven that there are bonds that are made in the brain that mimic the same type of bonds with a stranger after 15 minutes of play that are similar to the bonds in the brain that you might have playing with someone that you have trusted and liked for a long time. Those bonds are similar because if I can trust you to play, then my brain can trust you to problem solve. And if you can problem solve, then you can critically think and potentially get me out of a dangerous situation. So play is then imperative to survival. And that's why that's like this big whoop. Yes, Christine's like whoop
Yes.
whoop. Raise the roof. It's the truth. It is the truth.
Right?
Play is imperative to survival. So um, this is why
And
it's
kids
important.
know that. Kids know
Mhm.
that. Like when you watch kids play, and but we get to a certain age that we think, oh, we've got to be an adult, or so I love having these conversations about play and about the science that backs it up, and how, I mean, one of the things I love to talk about is the mirror neurons, right? That
Mhm.
when you're dancing with somebody, or you are being witnessed in storytelling, and you have that sense of awe or that sense of trust, that in our own bodies that's reflected. And so you can have the experience in your own body by witnessing somebody telling that story, or dancing, or creating an amazing piece of music, or so vital.
Even now, when we started this conversation, you were both talking about the Olympics. There is a societal agreement. Let's play a game and all join and celebrate in this playing of a game. So it's tucked in to our society already. And what I encourage, and I think what you both encourage, Christina and Shannon, is how can we play in more, direct ways? There's direct and the indirect. I call those the indirect or sneaky vegetables. Like spinach and brownies. Tuck in something in that's good for you, or my black bean brownies. It's good for you. And there are ways to do these sneaky vegetables at work for team building. Like my husband and I, Greg, he's a drum circle facilitator. Drum for Change is his business. Sometimes we work together, and we love to do team building. We love to do retreats. This is ways that you can do sneaky vegetables in work and pair leadership development, well-being, improving empathy and trust for your community, especially with a lot of culture change, a lot of people who are being laid off. There's a lot of change. It's like, who do I trust? Who do I talk to? There are really simple ways that you can develop bonds, help people be human. I mean, I'm all about staying human. We are human beings, not human doings. And my work is a constant reminder of that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I hear what you're talking about for the teams. Before we came on, we were talking a little bit about industrial organization. And you were saying how, and you shared it on the show, how the way that we thought about things is not the way that things are going to be sustainable going forward. So when you think about play and joy, ease, and creativity, I would love for you to have, and I know you've had a soapbox, but a little bit of a soapbox here, right? Another one, and continue. That's what our podcast is about, right? A soapbox about what you see that looking like in the future.
How much in the future? I mean, that's just a tricky question right there.
Wherever your mind goes, and I know we have a list of things that you would consider, but wherever your mind goes, that's what I would love for you to share.
So, an interesting soapbox concept is I look at, where are the voids in society? Where are there gaps? There
Right,
are gaps in people's sense of connection to self, connection to other, connection to nature, connection to healthy food, connection to great education, connection to societal systems that provide a sense of safety. All of these are in transition, every single one. I wrote my book nearly 10 years ago, and I'm telling you, I wrote it about what's happening now.
mm,
This is universal concepts.
right,
So, my answer is, where would play fit into this? I see it weaving through all of these spaces. So, I
yes,
imagine churches that are going under, are being emptied. These can be creativity centers for communities. Shopping mall centers can be, the shops and stores. I mean, we have a Joann's Fabrics. I'm sorry that they left, but
right,
they're gone. Steinmart is gone. We've got these huge stores. Maybe those
mhm,
become hydroponic centers for healthy foods. Maybe they become unique farming places or mushroomeries that are close by. I grew up in New York, in Staten Island, and when I was a child, and I'm 51, we had nature. We had trees, we had quail, we had deer, we had beautiful stars. And in the 11 years from when I was born to when we moved, every piece of nature was taken away.
Wow.
But before it was taken away, we had little farm that was close by. And I remember my mom like pushing me in the stroller. I was like rolling through the dirt, you know, of the of this tiny 3-acre farm and picking peppers, like warm peppers off the
Wow.
plant and eating them and little tomatoes.
Mm.
I I am already seeing a merge between eating spaces and art spaces and spirituality spaces and new systems thinking conversations. They're already happening. And if you just kind of think about your own world, I'm positive you can rattle off things you've already seen or events you've been to where these are starting to merge. And whatever magic happens, that will create the next evolution. And who knows with AI, how this all fits and governmental systems, how it all fits. I'm a big believer that to be a part of the solution, you have to you have to first care for your own pains because what you are hurting about is what you see and sense needs to be solved because that's a unique thing that you are being charged about. So that's your deep work. That's your great work. And I invite people to explore that edge for themselves. I really focus on developing the conscious leader and explore helping people at all levels of that spectrum, from the conscious leader to people who are in society who don't know how to even lead themselves. Like I work with groups of veterans who served our country who are living on the street. I just did a program last week. We had 10, no, 12 gentlemen, and I taught them weaving,
I
hand
love
weaving.
that.
I was just thinking
And
about
I,
weaving.
I, I was so surprised at how proud they were and
Mm.
how welcoming they were. I mean, it makes me cry even thinking about it, just like right now.
Yeah.
To give them a ball of yarn and a little loom and teach them how to work with space using fabric and then send them, they just have to go back out in the world. Like, I can't fix everything. None of us can fix everything, but there's something you can do that weaves your pain in with a creative process and that has a solution for something new. I guarantee you, you are
Mm.
listening to this podcast right now for that reason.
Oh, I love that, Annalise. I have an interplay story that I think you would appreciate talking about that working with veterans.
Mm.
I was, and I don't know if I've shared it on this on the show before or not, Shannon. So if I have, listeners, please forgive. If I have, it's been a long time ago.
You're fine. It's your soapbox.
Oh, thank you. So before the pandemic, I did a lot of work in the criminal justice system in Georgia.
Mm.
And we would go in to women's prisons, and they were maximum or medium security prisons. So this one day, I had gone to Lee Arundel State Prison, and I'm when you go in, you're searched. You are, it's a big process, and I think I was through 5 locked doors. So
Mm.
somebody had to open the door, shut me, and so 5 locked doors to get to my classroom. And so I'm in the classroom and I'm leading interplay, which is the system that Annalise and I are both trained in. It uses movement and storytelling and voice. and I lead them
Embodied
through a
wisdom.
simple embodied wisdom, absolutely. And so I'm working with a group of lifers. These are women who have been sentenced to life in prison, and I'm doing a one hand dance. And afterwards, one of our practices in interplay is to stop and notice that presencing, right? So I will never forget this. Like, it makes me cry every time I think about it. But we're in one of the most constrictive, restricted environments that I've ever been in, right? And we do this hand dance, we do a little bit of art, and I asked them to notice. And this person noticed I felt freedom.
Mhm.
And I said, if we can create an experience in the
Mhm.
most horrific situations to where somebody can have that moment of awe or freedom or peace, we're doing something magical. And that's with play. Like, that's with the arts. That's with, like, it makes a difference.
Makes a big difference. Makes a big difference. The school that I went
Yeah.
to, and thank you so much for sharing that story, Christine. The school that I went to before
Mhm.
I went for my degree in coaching and integrative coaching was the European Graduate School in Saas-Fee, Switzerland, and it's an expressive arts school. And the program that I studied was conflict transformation and peace building, utilizing the expressive arts. And the origin of the training was to be able to provide programs, expressive arts programs for refugee camps. That was the original premise of the program. And that was to provide ways of being and space holding so that people who came from varied backgrounds, varied languages and religions, who have to start from ground zero, can find common ground together and to help bridge highly high conflict experiences and conversations. And what a powerful experience. And so there are times where, in my coaching or definitely in retreats and team building, I'm pulling from that, pulling from this experience, and have so many different tools to be able to help people see and presence. And I'm so grateful you used the word freedom, because I do share that I help people have a sense of freedom, a peace, and a path forward. But it is surprisingly common that people don't realize that that's what they're looking for. Like when you use the word freedom, it's like freedom, yeah, America, or whatever. It's like freedom, and there's a
Right?
flag, or the song, and it involves beer and you know trucks and Fourth of July things. But freedom is a very personal conversation with your insides. Only you know what you need to be free of, but most people don't know what they need to be free of. And because of that, it's difficult to invite them to a space where they want to shake it off. So that's again, it's that sneaky vegetable. It's like, well, how can I tease this in, and how can I tease that in, and how can I welcome this in, so that you could get a taste. Yeah, it's freedom that you feel like you're missing. You feel trapped by something. You feel disenchanted by something. You feel disappointed by something. You feel angry by something. So let's let's do some mirroring. Let's do some playfulness. Let's do some exploration. So I really appreciate you bringing that story, both of you. It's extraordinary. What a
Absolutely.
great podcast.
I mean, you ladies are amazing, and this is what we talk about. This is why we know it's worth it. Even when the Olympics are airing somewhere, we're still talking about the dimensions of wellness as well. Um, because it sounds simple. Like you said, basic has like a bad rap now. But the universal laws of nature of being present where you are, in this moment right now. If you're multitasking and you're half in the past, a quarter in the future, of course you're always going to feel split. And what I'm still on that we were talking about earlier is that person um in the news, right? The person in the news, I think you said it was your friend who knows that they spiral and they feel responsible for feeling bad, right? That's something I've been working on when we talk about emotional and mental wellness. Thankfully, we're connected to Eileen Dillon, one of our authors and narrators, Annelies. Eileen is, I love that we have authors from our 20s to the 80s, and Eileen is in her 80s. She's one of our OG wise women. And
That's great. I love that.
yeah, she's been working now since it's 2026, probably like 53, 54 years with families and emotional wellness, and that our emotions are teachers, right? So as the news has been increasing, it's always different when Trump is in office, the news and media and how it presents
Mm.
when I open my computer, right? And so I get how your friend feels. Like I see this, I feel bad. Christine's talking about mirror neurons. Mirror neurons have yet to be safe for me in this country. Even watching the Olympics, we were talking
Mm.
about Aaron, what's her name? Aaron Johnson. I had to look it up.
Mm.
And I said, she is the defending gold medalist. Why are we tearing her down? Why are we
Right?
giving more accolades to somebody else before like it was crazy. Um, but what
It's a
I would
different
say,
time.
it is a different time. Um, but what I would say to that person is what we said already, circling back to being intentional about the news that you take in, right? And like I was saying, I've been personally working on not allowing things that we know happen consistently to break our heart. Don't let the system break your heart when you know that's what the system does, but outside of that, intaking all of this very heavy news is difficult, so you can't take all of it in. Part of that time you're looking for the joy, you're missing other news stories, and that's okay. You'll find out about it,
Right.
but intentionally looking for the joy, intentionally being in our bodies. And I want to go back to what you said another time, Annalise, because all this ties back into our purpose, right? About what is your personal pain. Just
Mhm.
because I can use Christine and I's situation, just because Christine is a white woman and I'm a black woman doesn't mean that my pain is heavier than hers.
Mm.
Everybody in life, I feel like, is destined to get their heart broken. You're gonna have that pain because that pain and that fire that it brings is what's gonna fuel your purpose. But it has to be yours. It's not somebody else's. That's not your purpose. So being in community, us talking about these things. I love that you said meditation. I love that you're talking about what are you intaking? What are you eating?
Mhm.
Right? When we talk about
To
I just,
inform. Yeah.
yeah, I,
How are
I
you
want to
informing
go
your
back to
body?
like tie all this stuff up since we're about to go to the wisdom in action. But when you were talking about the phenomena when you're
Mhm.
spiraling, the other
Mhm.
night, I had to just stop. Went off in the kitchen. I was about to come do a whole work block. I text Christine, I'm in a work block. I was about to do an hour. 15 minutes passed. I still wasn't set up. And I just felt this angst and this push to do this work. And maybe you should stop. It was just 2 holidays. You had Valentine's Day and you worked President's Day. You worked 6 days straight at work and you did the podcast last week. So you're
Mm.
really on a 9, 10 day stretch. These are the phenomena that I look at that I'm like, yep, she's
Mhm.
tight. Instead of slowing down, I have to stop, cut it off, plug in your phone, plug in your computer, plug in yourself, go to sleep. I had to just
Mhm.
and rewrite the to-do list for a third time, and I took everything off, not just one thing, because of where I saw that I was. So
Good for you.
um
Yeah.
the
Sometimes
yeah.
the best question that people can take from that is, what's
Hmm.
the next right thing? And
Yeah.
my mentor, who's since passed, I've
Mm.
lost all my mentors, but
Mhm.
she taught me what's the next right thing. And bless her
Mm.
Mhm.
heart, she said, "Honey, sometimes the next right thing is you just have to lay on the floor."
Yeah.
And I said, "What?"
Heck
And
Yeah.
she
yes.
says, "Sometimes you just have to stop what you're doing and lay on the floor, put your feet up. Just
Mhm.
the next right thing is
Yeah.
tiny. It's that
Mhm.
micro noticing. And if you build in the what's the next right step all the time,
Mhm.
testing, testing, testing through that, being
Mhm.
intentional, being aware, being present, then
Yes.
you may not get to that super ramped where you have got to like stop it all. It's possible,
Mhm.
but then, life does happen. So then once you're here, you can say, okay, I know. I don't have to go off the cliff. This is what
Mhm.
I need. And Shannon, I had an epiphany when you were talking, and you used the word
Mm,
intentional, because
mm.
I use the word inform about informing. But when you said intentional, I thought of a tent. And I thought, well, what do you want to keep in your tent?
Yeah,
Intent.
I
What
like
is
that.
intentional? What's in your tent? There's only so much space in your tent. Like, we're not big tops. What's what's
I don't
in your
know.
tent? I just love that. I love that little
The
vision,
question,
of how
yes.
can we be intentional. Like, being intentional means to be very mindful about what you take in, very
Yeah,
mindful about what you engage in. It goes
yes.
back to kind
Mm.
of the village. Like, what do you want to keep close?
Yeah. What are you
I
gonna say,
love that,
Christine?
Annalise. Well, before we get too far away, Annalise, I want you to call your mentor's name that's no longer here, but I want you to
Awesome.
say her name.
Amy Pierce.
Amy
Amy.
Pierce. Thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
your
Thank you,
wisdom
Amy.
today,
And
coming
Bob
through
Dugan.
on and Bog
He
Dugan.
was the founder of the Maryland University. He actually was the founder of the Tai Sophia Institute, which became the Maryland University of Integrative Health, which is now known as the. It just changed again. The school School of Notre Dame, the Notre Dame School of Integrative Medicine. It just changed again. Um,
Beautiful.
and then also my first coach, Bonnie Cohen. So yeah, I've lost
Mm.
quite a few of my very great teachers in my life. Thank you for asking.
And their wisdom is still coming through.
Yes.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yes. So every week we talk about what are we doing for ourselves, right? We talked about intent, and even though we talk about helping our clients, helping the people who come to our events or hear us speak, we also like to share what we do personally. So Annalise, and you can go last if you want, but what are you doing for your social wellness this week?
For my social wellness,
Yes.
I mean, my goodness, we're preparing to offer a conference, and I'm
Mm,
teaching a new technique called ekphrastic music, where we partner with galleries, museums, spaces that have art on the walls, and we provide musical instruments and a guided experience for people to play with sensory of sound and vision and imagination. So it's kind of like a living poem, and really looking forward to that. That's my connection with the world, to help sprinkle some new ways of seeing and being so we can de stress and be well together.
Mm. Yum.
yeah,
Shannon, what are you doing this week?
I love that. Oh, I have a couple of hashtags. Let's see where they are in all of my notes. Oh, so I have two. Hashtag seek the joy. And this is kind of weird the way I wrote it. What I said is hashtag process of light. And what I was thinking about in a social context is when I think about the setup of my organizations, that's how I like to be consistent, the point of life, light, even though I am realistic about the environment, how do I want to show up? Where do I want to operate from? Is definitely light and love. So those are my two.
Mm. I
Yes.
love it.
Beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
feel the warmth in my heart in listening to
Mm,
that, Shannon.
thank you.
I want to steal yours, Shannon, of the
Okay,
seek the joy. And
come
I
on.
also just
It's
want to
from
do a
you.
hashtag interplay since we've been talking about interplay all day and I love it.
Nice.
Yes.
And so I think I'm going to
And dance.
hashtag interplay for my social wellness and seek the
Mhm.
joy. And I want to let our
Yes.
listeners know that are listening and not watching us today that I just put up the your website, which is conduitforchange.com. And
Mhm.
if you do backslash online dash course, you have a giveaway for our listeners. So thank you
Ooh,
for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, thank you so
you're
How
welcome.
much.
can folks, is this the best way for them to connect with you, Annalise?
Absolutely. Conduit for Change is the website, and there's a link on there. It makes it really easy to make an appointment with me so that you can have a consult or a discovery call, or to explore something, or to bring me into your workplace if you're interested in that, or to hire me for a retreat. I'm also on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, which is also Instagram, and I look forward to connecting. My book again is From Chaos to Calm: Leading Change from the Inside Out, and people
Yes.
can get this on Amazon, and it's also on audiobook and Kindle. It's a really wonderful resource for people. And if you're in the Raleigh Durham area, it's also available in paper copy in Wake County and Durham County public libraries.
Ooh,
Mm,
that's
super
awesome.
exciting.
And we will put all this into our show notes, y'all. So don't worry
Thank you.
about it. You can find it. You can go to womenconnectedinwisdompodcast.com and the show notes are there. Our past episodes are there. And Annalise, we're just so excited to have this conversation. And thank you so much for your work in
Yes.
the world and for what you're out there creating and doing and being. And we're just grateful to be
Thank you.
connected.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you so much, Christine. This was a really wonderful experience. It's my first time being exposed to this podcast that y'all are
Mm,
doing, and I really love it. I love your life, your deliciousness, your
thank you.
curiosity, the space that you leave for a podcaster to contribute, and then this gentle guidance. So it's been really a lovely engagement. I'm on at least 2 to 4 podcasts a month, so this was really special to be with you all. Thank you.
Oh, thank
Absolutely.
you so much, Annalise. And we
Thank you
look
for that.
forward to staying connected.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Talk to you soon.
Oh
So
my gosh,
good.
so good. So good.
And I'm glad we always feel that way. Like, I love our women connected in wisdom.
I'm
So
telling
good.
you.
Like these tools, resources, like me, I don't have a toolbox. Now I have a tent, okay? And my tent has a lot of tools in it. It has a lot of stuff in there.
Right?
Uh,
Well, you think about this is episode 218. So we
mm,
have close to 200 guests. I'm going to
yeah,
give
we
us
do.
some wiggle room because we've had some come back more than once and we've had some that it's just been me and you. But
Yeah,
we have 200 amazing resources for folks listening.
yeah, we do. And I think the last point of all the tie-ins and everything that we were saying with even the 10 example is capacity. We are human beings. Like we said, we have a capacity. So intentionally working in that, is how I stay out of the shame, blame, and guilt, like Cecile talks about. We talked about
Mhm.
that earlier this season. And, I stay present and able to pivot faster, able to go with, okay, I set my plan and then this happened. Okay, what's the next best thing? Okay, and then this happened. Okay. And what's the next best thing and continuing to move forward. So,
And I like
y'all,
what Annalise said about the next right thing, right?
yeah,
Or the
the
next
next right
best
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
As
And I
long
like,
as we don't
yeah.
make it the next white thing, we're okay. Sorry, I could resist.
Hey, I love it. I support you and what you say. Is why we have a podcast. And and sometimes it is white, sometimes it's Christine, and that's
I
okay for it
know.
to be yes. But if it's not, like, yeah, let's make space for
Right.
everything.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Make a space
yeah.
for all people and all voices. And yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I see you, Annalise. What's the next right thing? Yes.
It's the next
Um,
right thing.
And so, y'all, the next right thing for you might be sharing your story. What's your story when you think about chaos to calm? What's your story when you think about what's next, when you look forward and positive psychology? And we have the doors open right now to volume 3. We have such an amazing time, not only with our podcast guests, but really supporting our author cohorts through becoming published authors, to narrators, to public speakers and retreat holders and guests like Annalise is talking about. So if you've been waiting, if you're looking forward to it, if you know you want to do a whole book by yourself, but you want to start with a chapter in ours, wherever you fall in the spectrum, or if you have somebody that you think will be a good fit, let us know. We're looking forward to talking about dimensional wellness, what it looks like now, and getting this volume out to the people who need it.
Right. We'll put that link in the show notes. And next week, after the podcast is over, we'll be
Yeah.
having a why become a women connected in wisdom author
Hmm.
call, which answers all your questions. So we'd love for you to join
Yeah.
us.
And y'all, a huge reason why that we've heard from everybody is because we do it together, and we don't know who's in the room. So that's one of those uncertainties that we were talking about with Annalise. But what we know is that they're wise. What we know is that we're connected and we're connected in wisdom. So we have a good time and we're looking forward to seeing who's on the cohort. But again, we'll be here live at 5 next week. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.